Hi, YouTube. It's my debut.
I just hope you're not gonna be like Kira and like when she looks at the camera is like actually speaking, and then when she's just talking to me, she's like this. She's like, "What are you saying?" I have to like subtitle her. I need to start. Hi!
What's up, internet?
You're very like short.
I know I'm
I'm like right on the edge.
I'm
So I
squished
can
into
be
the.
like,
I'm
no,
right at
it's a
the
comfy
end.
couch. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, it's not. Don't be sorry. I'm not sorry. Don't be sorry. At least I dressed the part.
Well, I tried. Okay, I have at least movie. So this is technically my movie review shirt.
Actually, fair enough. In Old Man Logan, the symbiote gets a T-Rex. So you're not bad. We're going deep. We're gonna get into the meat of Venom today.
So this week we are going to do another movie review for Venom. I did one last week, but this time we're going to go full on spoilers. I have my friend Kale here, who's more comic book driven than I have ever been in my entire existence. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am a geek. I love my Marvel, I love my DC, as long as no one messes with it. But, this is Marvel.
I just don't get any of the money.
So, as I said, we are going to do a full-on 100% spoiler review. We are going to dissect... He's shaving something in there. We are going to dissect the crap out of this movie. We are going to compare and criticize next to the copious amounts of comics that Kale has brought. And the last thing we're going to do is discuss about where we think the sequels can go off. Like which direction, who we think can enter, what we think is going to happen, and yeah.
In unison, that was good.
Let's start at the beginning.
Yes.
So we open up and it's space.
When they're doing the little Marvel scroll at the beginning, flipping comic book, there was no Venom. There wasn't.
No? I didn't even notice.
I
mean, I understand why they still do the whole like flippy book thing because it's not actually in the MCU, so they can't do the whole 3D and showing everything.
Yeah,
but
the
I
flippy book thing
hate
is nice
that one.
still.
No, I hate
I
it.
don't
That's
mind it.
boring.
But you know how like in other ones they did, in other versions they had like images of Spider-Man or the X-Men kind of
Yeah.
variously sparked, but it was just a regular old Marvel. There was no real Venom in it. I'm like, why wouldn't you?
So what did they have?
They just had, it was just a regular flip book. No Venom, and why would you have it? Because it's Venom, you could do something different instead of the white and red, do white and black.
Yeah.
But they kind of was like, oh, okay. It's a little nitpicky thing, but it just doesn't bother me.
I didn't even notice. I was
Apparently
just
they
like,
keep it
oh,
telling.
old intro. Next. So they start in space and burn up in the atmosphere, crashing down. They said, Ryan, that there were 5 symbiotes on the ship that they were bringing back. 1 escaped, they don't mention another, and they have in captivity 3.
They said they have 3, 1 broke out of containment, and then
They just skipped over the other.
As the strip's coming back, and they said they got 5 specimens. And originally, apparently there's supposed to be a scene because they wanted to start it off on like the planet of the symbiotes or something, but because the symbiotes wanted to come to Earth for hosts.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they were captured. And originally, I guess there was a scene. I don't know if it was shot, but it was storyboarded.
Oh, it'll probably have, it was probably shot and it'll probably be on the extended version because there's going to be an extended version.
There's got to be an R-rated cut of this movie.
I don't think R-rated. There's definitely not an R-rated.
Well,
they definitely shot
they
it
could've-
as a PG-13 movie.
It could have gone. I
Oh,
saw that where there was ways they could
100%.
have gone
And
R-rated.
you know what? Well, and we'll get into that for the sequels
Oh yeah,
because I have some theories.
well, I think either the 5th one either escaped or it was destroyed. Because the
They
space
lost
shuttle
it regardless.
The space shuttle broke up
Yeah.
into pieces, and they found some survivors. or once Jameson, the astronaut, I don't know, he got taken away.
There was one person that was left alive, or was that Jameson that they took?
That was Jameson that they took.
Okay, well then I'm pretty sure he died in the ambulance then, because...
Yeah, because Riot was pretty much just dropping in it.
Yeah, he just was like, and dead, and you are now mine.
So I think it's entirely the 5 specimens, but I personally, I know other people think maybe it's Carnage, but I think it's probably that specimen either burnt up or maybe will come back, but I do not think it's going to be Carnage.
See, I do think it was Carnage because, I mean, this is in its own universe. It is taking on its own kind of discovery, its own origin, and its own creation, and kind of, yes, it's following some storylines from the comics, but it's still kind of going off and doing its own thing. There's no Spider-Man that's involved in it. They completely changed the, like, scenario of how he gets him and where he gets him. Because isn't he supposed to have him in New York before going to San Diego or San Francisco?
Yeah, he's in New York, San Francisco. Which is what the Lethal Protector storyline is based on, because him and Spidey have a kind of a shaky truce, and he goes to San Francisco, he leaves New York to become a hero, and that's where, like, in that storyline, you get the Life Foundation, and that's when, so the Life Foundation captures Venom and forces him to produce, because they already know that he can produce Offspring and Carnage, and they force him to produce 5 other symbiotes. So they already changed it, because technically Riot's supposed to be his offspring.
Yeah, so now, let's go back to that little aspect of life. Because Riot is supposed to be the offspring of Venom.
Yes.
Because Venom was the first one.
Yes.
And he's created all of, like, the rest of the beings. If he was in captivity, that means the 5th one could very well highly be Carnage. Because, yes, it is whatever. And as we noticed, Cletus was already in jail at the end of the movie, and Eddie's not.
Yeah.
And by one comic, they share a cell, and then it goes on to him.
I have a theory about how that's going to work, though.
Okay. And so then we'll get into that.
Yeah.
We move on, and we follow Riot for a bit.
Yeah, we follow. He goes.
We're not really sure it is Riot until officially we see, like, the weapons and everything.
It's Riot.
No, like, I didn't know it was Riot until it went to Riz Ahmed's character.
Yeah. Carlton Drake.
Yeah. When it went to Carlton from the little girl, that's when I was like, oh, okay, that's Riot. I didn't know who that was.
They stole some aspects of Riot from Carnage, because in the comics it's Carnage who does all the weapon stuff, like the axes, throwing stuff.
Doesn't Riot do that too, though?
Not really.
Not to the extent that they
Not
show.
like he can do to the extent that Venom does, but it's Cletus Cassidy who has complete control of the symbiote.
There is no, as we discussed a little bit on the way here, just like pieces of the movie. There was no explanation as to why Riot stayed inside of, like, an 80-year-old woman for 6 months.
Well, the director came out and said that he's like, that was a pretty kind of it was a bit of a plot hole, and he just think Riot was maiming around Malaysia.
Well, I mean, it could have been.
He could have just been trying to learn what was maybe just learning, because who's gonna suspect some old woman? And he's just kind of going around.
Yeah, but when she walks like a friggin' creep.
Yeah, towards the end, like when he was in the airport with her and he went in the kid, you could tell she was used up. Mm-hmm. Like she was bombed out and depleted. Like holy shit. She looked like a zombie.
I guaranteed as soon as he left her, she died. I took, as I said from my last review, I went into this movie understanding that somehow Eddie was going to go into the Life Foundation and either be voluntold or volunteer to be like an experiment to bond. Because I was expecting something was going to happen in his life where he's like, okay, well, my life is shitty, what else can happen to it? Let's just do this. This might be the only good thing in my life kind of thing. And that's what I thought was going to happen because of all the hospital scenes that they were showing. It made it really seem like he volunteered himself or he was like, whatever. The only thing I will say that only after watching the movie that bothered me about the trailers is a lot of the audio they used was misplaced. Not the fact that they didn't have it in the movie, because everything in... I'm pretty sure everything in the trailer was in the movie. Just except for, actually, there was only one scene that I noticed that was in the trailer and not in the movie, and that was when Eddie is sitting or standing outside in broad daylight, and he's like, this power is not completely awful. That scene was not there.
Wasn't it that at the end when he's talking to Anne, and they kind of just mixed it around?
I think they changed the wording, but he did
that,
not say
that was
that line.
That was that scene. That
It
was
was no,
the end of the movie.
exactly, because that was the only daylight scene, really.
No, but I think that was it. That was this.
It was that scene, but they didn't have that line in it, and I was wanting that.
Some
line.
scenes
I
were
liked that line. I thought it was such, not ingenious, but it was very Eddie.
Yeah.
It was very Eddie, and how he's like understanding the power that he has.
There were nods to how he is in the comic. Like they had the weights there. They had kind of his drive to, like how he goes into Anne's computer to get the information. There was his drive to kind of crack the story and everything. And his it was his downfall, and then after seeing Anne with Dan and all, like he was just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
But yeah, trailers you thought it showed too much, but then the movie there was enough.
I thought it was a perfect amount to keep your interest and to get you wanting to go and see the movie. I thought it was a very, very well balanced trailer. I was actually surprised when it was just transferred. Just be like, oh, I'm gonna attack you, and then I'm transferring. Like I was not expecting it to go down the way that it did. I was expecting it to be like an experiment.
That was one of the nitpicky things I had about it though, because in the comics the symbiotes have they've never died in our atmosphere in the comics. That was kind of added, and that just seems to. These two other symbiotes in the movie died.
Oh, but did they die? Only one that I know died. They never did anything with the yellow one.
Yeah,
ever.
No, the yellow one was in the rabbit, and the rabbit died.
It did not die.
Yeah, it did. They showed it later. Its gut was. It didn't accept.
I
the
don't
transfer.
remember this. I really don't. I remember it accepting and then just.
No, they
let's
showed
start
it
human
later
trials,
on, and they said because they had the human trials and they some were stable, but they were rejecting it. So, and then in
I need to rewatch this movie.
yes, I know. Jenny Slate's character.
Yeah.
Like she died.
Yeah.
And you saw that, and the rabbit died too. So, but regardless, they said that the symbiotes couldn't survive in our atmosphere without a host, and that's never been an issue in the comics. And they have also never really drained the host.
So he gets the symbiote.
Yes.
And he freaking out. He has no idea what happens and what's going to happen. And like I said to you before, one of the favorite parts in this movie was when he first sees his face change in the mirror and he lets out the highest pitch scream I've ever heard any full-grown man ever give. And
well, that's because the symbiote also goes, and he
and his face changes at the same time.
And he screams and he backs and he practically knocks himself out.
Well, he did knock himself out because when he woke up, he was what happened.
Did you know the scene where he goes to see Anne and Dan in the restaurant? And he goes into the lobster tank. That was improv by Tom Hardy. Apparently,
I love
the story is when he got on set, he looked at that and the lobster tank, and he just goes, "I'm getting in that." And like the set designer was like, "You can't get in that. It's not designed for people." And I'm getting in it. Like he said, 40 minutes was cut out and is all his favorite stuff. Like what else did you improv? What other Venom and Eddie back and forth banter?
Because he was also the voice for Venom.
Yeah, he was. You can't
I
tell.
They like digitized it, obviously.
Yeah, he had a thing in his ear so he could hear the Venom, like what he recorded. And then he would respond in time back to it.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. The more you know. I thought it was very rushed at this point, where they all of a sudden brought in the goons to try and claim back the symbiote. Obviously, Eddie was the most developed character. The movie was literally about him. Same with Venom. You got to know about him some more.
Anne was pretty good. Anne was developed too.
Yeah. She was in it quite a bit. She was in it more than Carlton Drake.
Yeah. He was essentially batshit crazy.
Yeah. He was just your typical run-of-the-mill bad guy. I want to do this. It was take over the world, but without taking over the world. He wanted to fix problems by hurting people, and no matter the cost. And then when Riot was inside of him, he's like, all right, let's get this rocket to get my people here and take over the planet. Why? They made this whole huge thing about saying, the symbiotes can't survive on Earth, period, unless they have a host. But they need a specific host that they can bond to perfectly.
Yeah.
If there's a planet filled with these creatures coming to take over and rid humanity to take over it, how are they going to survive if they can't find a host?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's like
Shark venom.
billions and
Shark
billions
venom.
of people on this planet, but
They don't have to be people.
so let's flash forward a little bit.
Yeah.
So we talked about the accident. We talked about how Eddie got his thing. We talked about how rushed the goons came in all of a sudden. He literally had it for all of what, like 2 hours?
He had it for a while. I think because it looked like it was a.
No, it was like the same.
No, he got it. He got home that day, and then we're trying to find who it was, and I think he had it for at least a day, because he gets home.
No, I'm
He was
pretty
all-
sure it was that same night because he was freaking out.
No, 'cause he-
left, talked to Anne, and jumped in the pool of lobsters, and then next thing you know, it's
No, it
who
was
took it, and she was
was
like,
the-
well, it's him.
Yeah, but it was the next night because he went there that night, and then he got out. And it was the morning, like it was late at night or early morning when he went there. He gets home, talks to her, and that's the morning, and then that's when he like bashes his head. So he's passed out for a bit. Then he wakes up and goes to find Anne. They take all that happens in the restaurant. They take him to the hospital. They send him home. So it's that night when the Dragoons come. So they have the whole day. They're trying to figure out who it was, and they found out it was Dora. And that's why, like, they put her in
Like the Explorer.
Yeah. Which makes Tom Hardy. Which makes
getting better.
Which makes Tom Hardy Eddie Brock Swiper because he swiped the symbiote. Swiper, no swiping. It's at least a day that he has it. It's not like a.
Well, okay, so
But they
either
find out
way,
quick because they're going through. They go through security footage and everything to figure out like who was in there with the symbiote. That's obviously how they see her. And then
but if they saw her, they would have seen him.
Oh, that's probably but maybe
They wouldn't have had to ask her and been like, oh, how the hell did he get in here?
They figured out it was her somehow. She had
exactly.
Her
She went in, she was like, hi, and then beeped her thing, and they're like, oh, we were waiting for you.
Yeah,
Like, we
she
need
had-
to talk. And she's like, fuck. So, they go to his house.
Yeah.
He beats a bunch of people up, and he's like,
Venom beats a bunch of people up.
not sure how he's doing it. Well, no, there were parts that were him.
Yeah.
Because Venom was making him spin around and kill
That's
people
when the
too.
banter really started to go, like, because before you just hear Ben every now, like, Eddie, food, hungry, or like just
Yeah.
quick, simple stuff. But that's when he really started to like talk to him.
That chase scene.
Yeah.
God, that chase scene was so overly long for no reason. It turned into a Fast and the Furious movie. I get, in a way, why they did it. They wanted to show what Venom could do, how he can get away from people, how he can kick ass. They wanted to include all of the banter that they had.
There wasn't that much banter between them during. It was just duck. Like he's told them to duck at one point.
There were some funny parts, but I found it was like 8 minutes. They could have gone for maybe 3. They didn't need the extra 5 minutes of driving around and then him crashing into a car and rolling onto the ground. Like, no, they didn't need that. Not happy with the ending of the chase either, when he's literally about to eat the guy and then he gets shot and then just drops him and goes. It's like, bitch.
Yeah, but he ate the other guy. He ate the guy who shot him.
Yeah,
You don't
but-
shoot Venom and get away with it.
Right there, he could have gone after him, and he didn't. He just was like, all right, bye, you're gone. He just let him go.
Well, he killed the immediate threat. Like, that guy was. Well, he didn't just let him go. He
He-
threw him like.
He
30
threw him down,
He threw him.
ate the
30
head on
feet in
the
opposite
shooter,
direction.
and he got away, and he turned around and was like, all right. He literally could have gotten on the bike, gone out. If he can get away from cars, he can catch up to cars.
Yeah, I guess so.
Uh-huh. Especially if he's Venom, if we're going by comic and cartoon and everything, he has the same powers in a way as Spider-Man, where he can fucking
He did that.
yeah,
Shot with us.
exactly. He can friggin' symbiote himself across town to get to them. He wins after licking him and talking about his pancreas and organs and
Yes.
so many treats and so many.
How was he able to swim so fast?
I don't know. I love that.
I liked it too. But I'm like, well, what do you do?
A shark.
Maybe.
I mean, he doesn't have any body hair.
Well,
He's just
look, that
slender and ooze. He just.
That could be a little nod because a while back, and I have one of the figures there was like a little series of Spider-Man toys and villains where they were kind of like all aquatic based. Like Spider-Man had a
yeah, like a scuba gear.
Yeah, and
I had that toy.
they had Doc Ock, which made sense, but they had like Black Sea Venom, and he had all these like fish spines on his back, and his one hand. It wasn't a hand. It was another Venom head at the end.
Weird.
But that was cool because he went fast.
Yeah, no, that was
ooh.
retarded how fast he went. So he gets away, and he starts doing more to try and take down the Life Foundation.
Yes.
So nothing really much happens between the car chase and then the final battle.
Well, there's that one battle in the lobby of the news.
But that was nothing. That was just
a
Eddie broke in to deliver a message after being denied, and so then they started shooting, or they had their guns pointed at him because he broke in.
Yeah.
That was it. And then he's like, well, all right, you want to shoot me? All right, let's play. And then you boom. And then Ann shows up and freaks out like, what is this? And starts to rage like, no.
But it's also it was also a little bit more bonding between Eddie and the symbiote. I know because there was subtle things. Because one of the things I noticed looking online, people were like, well, Venom made a kind of a 180 pretty fast. But if you watch, you can't. It's not like a TV show where you have like a certain amount of episodes to gradually build up. You gotta get things done kind of quick. But in the movie, there are little subtle points where you can see Venom and Eddie kind of bonding. Because Eddie's talking like, don't eat this guy, he's a good person. And then he's like, oh, you want it up? Why don't you just ask? I would have done it for you. Kind of like, oh, no, I'll help you out. Gradually, and he's up at the top of the building saying how this hell Earth is much like more beautiful than he expected. But he also once he gets into the hospital and they're saying that the symbiote's killing him. Again, in the comics, the symbiotes never really killed their hosts. But I think because you kind of just gloss over that because he gets the symbiote back anyway in the movie. I don't think the symbiote was killing them. I just think they didn't understand what was happening because Venom and he actually seems more upset. Like they're trying to take Eddie away from him. Because even Eddie said they're just going to use me up and kill me. He's like, Venom said, well, no, you're far too good a host to just use up like that.
Yeah.
And he also, besides, I'm starting to like you. So I think he was actually getting upset. He's like, no, I'm not trying to kill you. He even says, like, don't listen, I can fix this. Whatever's wrong, I'll fix it for you. Like, he already healed his bones.
Yeah.
So we know, like, the symbiote can fix him. So I think that you start to see gradually Venom liking him. Or, like, the change of Venom, like, well, maybe the Earth's not so bad. And even after they take it off him, Eddie Brock says you fuck, you tried to kill me and all that. He leaves. The goons come back, shock him, take him. Venom gets out, bonds with that dog. Now you don't know. The dog walks out. Its eye looks at Anne. Its eyes change, so she knows.
Yeah, because you see it in her face too. Yeah. She's like, okay.
So we go back, and at this point, Riot's made it through jumping from person to person. Eddie's strapped in there. Riz Ahmed reveals himself to be Riot. He's like, where's Venom? Like, son of a bitch. Because he realizes Venom's not with him anymore, so I'm like, fuck it. The goons take Eddie out into the woods to get shot, and he starts talking about karma. But gradually behind, you see tendrils come out and take out some of the goons behind that main goon who Venom licked his face earlier but tossed in the air and bites somebody else's head off. Talks about karma. And the little fun little thing for the fans, She-Venom shows up in Anne Wang. Who in the comics, actually, after she becomes She-Venom, kills herself.
Yeah.
Because she bit someone's head off.
Well, not only that, she went on like a killing rampage
and
took a toll, and then Eddie was like, oh, great, this was not Venom, this was all you. You're the one that killed everybody, not friggin' symbiote. And she's like, oh, thanks, you don't love me, bye. And he's like, no.
I don't think that's the route we're going here. But that was a fun little like.
That was a comic
and
plan.
Yeah. That was fun. And she looked like She-Venom looked cool. So did
they have like the?
No, it was more feminine than the Venom version, but it was still like Venom on her. Like Venom slowly changed, and he's go after.
It was fast because it had to be for a movie, but it was slow and obvious enough where you could
You could see Venom kind of
the change happening.
And he even told Eddie, he's like, why do you want to? You were gonna destroy the Warriors. He's like, well, you made me change, Eddie.
Yeah. And
I don't get why Venom was a loser on his planet, or Eddie. Well,
because
Eddie had a
he's
downfall.
the weak one.
Yeah.
Each offspring becomes stronger as it goes.
Yeah.
So he gets Venom back, and now he's going to go after Carlton Drake and Riot.
Yeah.
To just destroy. And I loved, as I said from the trailer, when I first ever saw it, I was so happy when they made like the old school cartoon reference where when he's fighting Riot and he jumps down and there's like electrical wires or whatever on like his right side of him, and on the other side there's like just lights from the street or whatever, but the way that they're shining on
it's red.
the black symbiote, it's blue on one side, red on the other. I'm like, that is such a callback to like the 90s cartoons. I
Spidey
fangirled over that basically when I saw it. I was like, yes! I was so happy that they like did it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed I wish it was longer. I wish there was more to do in the final battle. But I mean, it was good. It was to the point. They got the job done. I found at first, because it's at night, you're having a black symbiote going up against a gray symbiote.
You could see Riot a bit better.
Not when they're like attacking each other. It was just, I was like, am I in a Transformers movie right now? And then once my eyes finally like switched and focused, I was like, oh, okay, that's the difference. It literally took me like a good 30 seconds to a minute before I could figure out who's who and what's happening.
I was fine with their final fight until they kind of merged together and this
when he's like ripping
when he was
it off,
ripping
and it's
when
like,
they were both ripping it off, and you could see Eddie and you could see Carlton Drake, and they were kind of like, then I was kind of, that was like, whoa. And I got the same like Optimus, like the same
in this one when they're moving around, it's just slow.
Yeah, it was they were a little too it was dark.
I do agree though with some of the critics out there. A lot of the scenes were at night. And that was a poor choice. I mean, I get why they did it because, every action film, the big things happen during, unless you're in a heist movie, then it's going to happen in broad daylight. But this was not a heist movie. This was a comic.
He was trying to hide too. I think in the next one, a lot of scenes will take place during the day because the villain's not going to give a fuck what time it is.
I'm hoping.
But on the...
I did find it was a little hard to see Venom sometimes.
Well, when it was, I thought it was hard to see him during that fight. Just towards the end when they were bonding together, like they were all kind of merged in the one thing because you couldn't tell who was who. But aside, I didn't have a problem seeing him. It was just that one time at the end. So,
okay. So I was a little upset when Riot shoved the spike through. I was just like, what? How are you going to kill off the main character of this new franchise you're trying to build right now?
Well,
why? And then
Love Symbiote Healed came back to me.
But now that's the other thing though. He can't make a new heart. He literally stopped living. Eddie Brock was dead. He was not
was it right through his heart, or was it more like
down? It was directly in the middle of his chest. But
they did say
he
something.
Died. He physically died. He was dead. He was a corpse. Nothing.
He was but your
brain goes for 10 extra seconds after you die.
Yeah, but what is it when you drown? You have so many minutes before your brain runs out of oxygen?
Okay, great. Maybe if we put him in water, this was a spike through his chest.
And Venom came 10, 15 seconds after and fixed the problem.
Not the same thing!
An alien symbiote came to save him. But not just that, an alien symbiote was the one that put a spike through his chest. And you're complaining... But that's the least of our worries.
I am complaining.
Where an alien bombed
I am complaining about that.
Alright.
Because, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy that he survived and went on. But
big flaw in the movie.
It is a big flaw because
an alien put a spike through a dude.
Not that. Healing him back from the dead.
Oh, I'm sorry. An alien put a spike through a dude, and another alien healed him too quickly.
Punch you in the temple.
And I will go all Venom terrible.
I get that he's living when Venom is using him.
He might die, or Venom, like Venom said in the hospital, he said, I can fix this. Maybe he healed his legs. He put his bone back into place and everything.
Bone is different than a non-beating heart.
Did you not spit on me, that big fan? But no, but he put his tissues and everything back. He fixed the tissue. So maybe, I don't know. Regardless, the symbiote's back. Maybe if it left him, he dropped dead. Regardless, the symbiote's there and fixed his heart, and we're good.
I can understand him living if he was still attached to him and then it healed him, but they were literally two separate entities at this point when he got stabbed.
Yeah, but the symbiote...
And the symbiote's like...
It brought him back. It defibbed him, is what, like, apparently...
I guess. I guess. We'll say he was
if their heart
alien
stops,
defibrillator.
You don't want to go to the hospital and get a regular defibrillator. You want your nearest symbiote. If anything goes wrong with you, you want your nearest symbiote. Broken bone, symbiote. You blind, symbiote. You're an old woman who just wants to go on a killing spree before she dies, symbiote.
Literally dead from being impaled through his bike,
Symbiote. Syphilis, symbiote.
Now, what I did like though from that
I like
scene,
how you just ignored that too. Like, Kale needs to stop.
What I did like though, when he did come back, I love how he just like ripped out the spike. I was like,
And
all right,
used it as a
fucking
weapon.
just like up the goddamn thing. He's like, and you're done. Boom in the rocket, slices it down, everything explodes. They like separate, and Eddie.
No, they didn't. They started to go down, fall in the fire because Venom said earlier, fire.
Yes,
fire.
they
and
were
sound,
in the fire.
Yeah,
and Venom like died. And
no, Venom made a parachute for Eddie. That's he's flung off and he said goodbye.
Eddie went boom right into the goddamn water
because the parachute burned up in the fire, but it was enough to slow him down.
Either way, they separated.
That moment was touching too. I think the movie did a good enough job that you were invested in. If you were invested in anyone, you were invested in Eddie and Venom's relationship because it really was a buddy movie.
Yeah.
And when like you weren't like maybe not, no one was weeping in the theater, but when it goes on, oh Venom, no, like don't kill Venom. Like, what are you doing? It's the first fucking movie.
So then we get to the final scene where he's talking to Anne on the steps of her apartment house thing. Not really sure what it is. And there's no alluding to Venom still being alive yet.
No.
Until she says something and then Venom's fucking voice just comes in. We're like, what? He's still here?
That was amazing, by the way. Look at her, Eddie. She has no idea we're gonna win her back. That was beautiful. Like Venom is the ultimate wingman when you think about it. Because didn't he tell her like, wasn't she? Yeah, because she said. Eddie asked about what that kiss was, because in order to give the symbiote back after she had it and saved him, and she was She-Venom, she kisses him in symbiote form, and the symbiote goes from her to Eddie.
Yeah.
Was it wrong out here? No, I wasn't by that. I'm a fucking person. She said that was his idea. And Eddie goes, oh. So Venom's like the ultimate wingman. Mm-hmm. Venom is clearly shipping Eddie going back with Anne.
100%.
And
he's
He's clearly going to go out of his way to do this. I don't know. I look forward to how this is going to play out but she doesn't know. But I like that.
Oh no, she now knows because he made a face and she's like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Nothing."
Yeah, he kind of left quickly because Venom started
He's
talking.
like, "I gotta go. I have an appointment that I have to go for a very important interview." I was like, "Oh, what?" See, okay. So at this point, I totally thought he was going
to name drop Daily Bugle or something.
No, I thought he was gonna somehow interview Venom. Like I thought Venom was gonna come out and like how he did when he was just like talking.
Oh yeah.
But because I thought that would be cool.
Yeah.
And then we see where he's going and everything, and he pulls up to the asylum.
Oh wait, no, we just glossed over one of the best parts in the movie when he's walking away from Anne. The cameo.
Oh,
you can't. No, that was a great cameo. I was not expecting it, and he turned.
I mean, I wasn't really expecting him either because it was at the end of the movie.
I'm surprised.
Yes, okay. I see where you're going with this cameo point when he's like, "Oh, it's good to see you two back together," and he's like, "Where's that guy?"
Yeah. But he says.
But Eddie doesn't respond to him.
No, Eddie says thanks, and he's like, "Don't." I'm rooting.
No. Like,
but he says I'm rooting.
Venom.
Yeah, that's true. But he says I'm rooting for you both. And he's like, neither you two shouldn't give up. Like he's saying you two, like he's using plural.
He's addressing, but he's like, it's good to see you two back together again.
Yeah, but he's like, don't give up. Like he said something about don't give up on Anne, but he's like, no. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
No, it was very alluding to the fact that it was him and Venom together. I mean, it could be misconstrued. It would be like, oh, it's good to see that you're talking with Anne again. Good job. But I don't.
No, I got I got more that he was referring to both Eddie and Venom.
Yeah, and I just love the whole like extreme response of, who was that? It's like, and then it just ignores him and keeps walking. It's like, no, but no, who was this dog walking man? I mean, obviously we know it's Stanley, but who was he in relation to Ed?
Well, no, he goes, who is Ed? Or who's that? What is that thing he says? It looks something like Venom wanted to eat the dog. But I like how he wanted to eat the dog. But the point I'm trying to make is, because Stan clear, how else would this dapper dog walker, because that's what he's called in the credits, dapper dog walker. That's what he is, dapper dog walker. How would he know who that? The theory is that he's the same character in all the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 already said. He's the Watcher. He's the same guy in all the movies, and that's how we know. So that's another little connection that they could possibly shoehorn. They drop little subtle hints, like the astronaut Jameson at the beginning is J. Jonah Jameson's son, John Jameson. Yeah. They just say Jameson, but that's good enough. And they allude to stuff that happened in New York.
With the Daily Globe and getting
with
fired.
The Sin Eater and everything. And now kind of this, so it's very subtle, but they can shoehorn Venom into Marvel.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. And I hope that they do, because I feel like, I mean, obviously they're not going to do it for the next Avengers movie because they've already filmed it.
If it worked with Spidey, it can work with Venom. Venom already has an established movie, but it just all took place before Iron Man and all the superheroes really blew up. Just say that's when it took place.
I don't think it needs to take place then. I think it can stay as, like, say, a year before the whole Thanos snap.
Yeah.
But they would, and that's where we could go for even one of the sequels, where something happens and like someone disappears.
So and then the big final good part about the end of the movie, he goes into the little China shop, and the one you see in the trailers where he goes to kill this one gay. Like you see
a parasite.
Yeah,
he's a parasite.
Yeah,
it's a
he hates being called parasite. I love their banter. The banter's the best thing because it's set up, and that's how Venom learns too, is because Eddie Brock is telling him if he wants to stay, he can only hurt bad people. There's plenty of good people in the world. Like don't hurt them, just hurt the bad people.
The final scene of the movie,
the tag scene, the bonus scene,
yes.
Which, that's what I fucking paid for, people.
Was it though? I mean, it was good, but it could have been better. Let's be real here. It could have been better.
It could have been better.
I had high hopes. I knew Woody Harrelson was going to be in this movie. When I didn't see him, I was like, I thought he was supposed to be
I knew who he was. I knew he was in the movie. I knew exactly who he was going to be.
See, I didn't know who he was at first. So, and I'm going to get into something else after, but it has nothing to do with him, but it has
and I'll get
just something else.
In the theater, like, because I knew what was going on as soon as these, so like, this is not a we thing, this is a me thing, but just be quick about it. And I'm like, where's he going? And as soon as, like, I knew for a fact, like, as soon as he's in the prison, I knew exactly who he's going to.
Well, and that was the thing. So I thought he was going to interview Venom, like I said, and for, like, his most important interview for the story of a lifetime. And I was like, okay, that's going to be weird, but kind of cool. And then he gets to the prison asylum thing. I was like, oh, okay, it's not him.
Who else would be happening? Who else would be in the asylum?
I couldn't think of it for the life of me. I could not figure out who he was going to see. And then all these little, like, hints and references and whatever. I was like, what is happening? And then I see the blood being written. I can't even remember what
Welcome, Eddie.
Oh, is that what it said?
That's what it said.
Okay, so I saw the writing in blood. I'm like, who is this deranged? And then it was like, Red, you have a visitor. I was like, Red, what's happening? And then I see the god-awful red wig on his head. That was bad. That was that terrible.
I saw it.
Ronald McDonald.
Yeah. Yes, the wig was terrible. But in here, because like in the Hunger Games, he obviously had a wig for that,
which was a good wig.
Yeah,
That looked like hair. This literally was like poop.
Honestly,
It looked like foam. It
Yeah.
looked like a foam wig.
and in the comics, Cassidy never had a kind of curly fro.
Yeah, he did. It was like slicked back around the side. It was very like.
Where is Cassidy?
Not an afro, not a huge fucking fro, but it was curly.
Well, there's Cletus.
That's Cletus?
Yeah.
In this?
Yeah.
No, that's not. That's not what Cletus looks like. I'm sorry. A, he's never been that ripped. He's been a scrawny, sadistic looking like psychopath. Not this good looking, rugged like, hey, meat candy. That is not Cletus. I forbid that.
Anyway, like the wig was just bad.
Yes.
Which I can overlook it because if they do a sequel, they can do a much better wig.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Or you know what? I'd be fine with no wig at all. Just wig. But I'll give.
Yes. They can easily dye what little tiny bit of hair that
He doesn't.
has.
But
orange.
I'll give them this: the facial expressions he made, I really liked because I could see it right out of the. It was it very common, like out of the almost off the page to me.
Yeah. No,
Wig aside,
I think he's
his
gonna
expressions.
be. I think he's gonna be a really good Carnage.
Yeah, I never even would have, in my wild like going through who could be Carnage. Like there was always like the huge Jim Carrey rumor. Or everyone wanted, and people wanted Jim Carrey.
No.
Uh,
No, can't see that. No.
I always thought it'd be fun to see Conan O'Brien.
Ew. That guy
Just 'cause
needs
of the
to
red
not
hair.
exist ever. I
You
hate
leave
him.
Conan alone.
Oh, he's
Or what
trash.
was it? Who's the guy from Gotham? Who plays the Joker?
Yeah.
Cameron
yeah.
Monaghan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monaghan?
Monaghan? Yeah, or him, because he always
No,
he's
I
got the
can't-
red hair, but
He's too young. Too young. He needs to be the same age or a bit older than Eddie, which Harrelson is.
but yeah,
And that's
I never-
another
I-
problem
I never-
people are having too with not with that, but having Spider-Man join this because of how young he is.
yeah.
But they can still, and I
These are
have a
adult
theory.
issues.
I have a theory of how they can join them together.
But yeah, so wig aside, I never would have put Woody Harrelson in that role. But you know what? I haven't seen Natural Born Killers, but I've heard he's really good in that as like a sadistic serial killer. He plays a serial killer in it. But wig aside, I think he liked the facial expressions he made. I really like he had it, and the way he talked, like just the way he did, was like, you want to do the serial killer thing? I can turn it on and off if you want. But I'm looking forward to where the sequel can go, and even Katal Party said that it could go the R-rated route. It's hard to do Carnage justice in a PG-13 movie.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about that. When I first was looking up, before the first trailer even dropped,
Yeah.
I was looking to see who was going to be in this movie. Now I did see Woody Harrelson on it, but his role was left blank.
Yeah.
And this was on IMDb. Literally, the place
It's
you
not
go.
blank anymore. It's Cletus Cassidy.
What?
It says Cletus Cassidy now. So it's Woody Harrelson's name isn't blank. It's Cletus.
Oh yeah.
And he's still got really high billing in the movie too. In the credits.
Oh,
Like he was
well,
right up there.
But the funny thing was, before the first trailer ever dropped, when I went to check on IMDb for, you know what IMDb is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, Internet Movie Database, basically the place that you reference for everything, unless you're Ryan who goes to Wikipedia. They had pretty much everybody that was going to be in the film, plus one more. They had registered in the cast Tom Holland.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh no, did they just spoil something? And then, because then I went back and checked.
He's not there anymore, nor is he in the movie.
No, but he's not on it anymore. I was like, oh, they totally spoiled something. And but I still went in expecting him not to be there. I had a hope that he'd be there because that would have been amazing. Even just like a little cameo, like a walk by, and be like, oh, hey, do you know where I can find this place? And then just keep walking.
Yeah.
That would have been beautiful. They so could have done that. Like he was on like a school trip to go to San Francisco and then keep moving on with your day.
Yeah. Exactly.
Nothing. But, I mean, whatever. Let's
Nothing
talk
to
about
quench your thirst like a dehydrant.
sequels, where they can go, who can be in them, what can happen, and the ratings we would give them.
Well, I have a hunch that Carnage will be the villain for the next one. Well, no, okay, yeah. Now that goes back to my, because in the comics, Carnage is Venom's offspring, and they hate each other. And I don't, for their dynamic, they shouldn't mess with that too much, because that's a good, like, in the cartoons, Carnage would always call Venom Dad, and there's stuff like that. But they have a Venom can sense his other, or like his offspring and stuff like that. And they have a very hatred for each other. And if it's not, I think if you take that away, you're kind of doing.
I think they can get rid of the whole offspring thing.
Well, but I think it'll work because in the tag scene for Thor Ragnarok, it ended with him talking to Loki and then Thanos' ship coming up. Infinity War started basically from that point, went a little further. If they start the sequel from when Eddie's already there talking to Cletus, and then the symbiote spawns, he's in the prison. It's pretty much a little twist on the basic origin, but it's still exactly what happened. It's pretty accurate.
I mean, it could go that route. It could go with the fifth one being escaped somehow and they just never found it. There's multiple possibilities of where this could go for Carnage and how he can become Carnage.
That's true. But aside from that, here's another. Like, I don't want to see a movie where it's just another Venom fights Carnage, because we already kind of saw another. It'll be easier to distinguish between the two because of the way they're designed and everything.
Yeah, Carnage is black versus red.
So
it's very clear who's who.
But as much as I do want to see Venom fight, and it's just kind of another symbiote versus symbiote.
It is,
and they already
all this series is going to be, which is why they need to cross over and start adding others.
They gave Riot too many of Carnage's powers with the making the weapons and everything, but you can bring some other characters like from the Maximum Carnage storyline. So if he's already in prison, Cletus Cassidy, Maximum Carnage, maybe you could bring in Shriek, who she's got like kind of mind control power. She can alter people's feelings and everything. And she's a sadistic serial killer. I'd like to see Doppelganger.
I don't think they'll do that because it's too close to Spider-Man
right now. It's close, but you could change around the origins enough and just say that maybe the Life Foundation was doing other experiments with the symbiotes and they tried to clone a symbiote and clone a human DNA and just have it an amalgamation of a symbiote and a human. And just because it's got...
I don't think they would go that route.
He's got the symbiote look to him, right? Like, he's got enough symbiote look to him.
What I think they could do, though, instead, because the movie's coming out before, probably the sequel, is they could involve Morbius.
That's true. Morbius was on the Venom, on the good side of that, too. Wait, they have a picture of Doppelganger.
That is one thing I really would love to see, is them not replicate, but make homage to that one scene in one of the old cartoons where it's like, I think they're in like a university classroom and everyone like leaves and it's Venom and Spider-Man going up against Carnage.
Okay, yeah.
And they're like just fighting each other in this like classroom in a university.
You gotta kind of give Carnage a team. Or have Carnage so powerful that Venom needs a team.
Venom will need a team.
There's other people. Morbius.
Carnage is more powerful than Venom. It's been proven.
Oh yeah. So you could do in one storyline for the Venom series where it was Flash Thompson who had the symbiote. A piece of the symbiote broke off and spawned a Mania who went on this like 16-year-old emo goth girl, and that could be an interesting dynamic to have Eddie and the symbiote be kind of father figures, because I feel they'd be exceedingly reluctant to be father figures to this younger female version of the symbiote.
Stop making noise.
No.
I thought you were in the room.
No.
Asshole. Especially with the sequel. You could, like, obviously Carnage is going to be in the next one.
Yes.
Venom is going to be fighting against him, but he's going to lose. He's going to lose by the halfway point of the movie because they're gonna probably pick it up like that.
Yeah.
And because he's gonna hear that, you know, Cletus got out. They're gonna find all of the death and destruction that has been left.
Yes.
We're gonna see the birth of Carnage. We're going to see Venom going up against him, and he'll lose.
And how? Oh, and how he will lose.
Oh yeah. Then he's going to have to be like, all right, I have to figure something out. I need some help. He's then going to go to New York.
And get Spidey.
He's gonna get some Spider-Man because Sony and Marvel have the deal to share characters, and he's going to bring him up. Now, if they don't bring Spider-Man, as I said, they can bring in Morbius, or as you said, they can have Mania.
And I do think that idea of that dynamic could kind of be an
So
interesting.
it could be the like father-daughter kind of dynamic, or him literally going to find Spider-Man, or Morbius, or literally a combination of
all this
something.
stuff, like bring it a team.
And if they did want to somehow connect this universe to the MCU, they could totally have the second one follow the events with Thanos and having like someone disappear. They could have Anne disappear, they could have Carnage disappear, they could have Venom disappear, and then Carnage is just on the loose. Literally, Venom's like, I can see this I would love this actually. I can see, you know, final battle, Venom against Carnage. Venom is somehow overpowering him. He's beating him to a pulp. It's one slash away from killing Carnage forever. And just as he's about to swipe,
Slash.
and the Carnage is like, what just happened? And he gets up, laughs, and then that's how it ends. And you just hear his laughter kind of like echo over like just the black, and then credits.
Or like
that writing the movie right now. They had said that certain characters are off the table, but I really don't think so. I don't think certain characters are off the table. I think they can be shared between everybody. You can just pick and choose who you want and be like, hey, I'm gonna use this guy, don't use him for your next movie. Oh, we're already planning. Alright, well then I'll use this guy, kind of thing. I think that's how their deal is. I don't think it's like, alright, you get these 50 and we get these 50 and fuck off. Because there's no way in absolute hell you can have a Spider-Man universe without Venom in it. You can't. Because they can still cross over, and if they never cross over, you can have that alternate timeline where Spider-Man has. And speaking of which, after Homecoming, they can not Homecoming, Far From Home. You can bring in Venom as like a bonus scene to that.
You could.
Or having a bonus scene for maybe even Far From Home. I'm hitting you a lot.
You're getting very into
maybe
more into this
Far
than I
From
am.
Home is going to bring Spider-Man into San Francisco.
That's true. Little too much.
And now, speaking of this,
It'd be stupid. Venom killed it at the box office. It'd be stupid not to.
Exactly.
Fuck you, critics.
Exactly.
know
Now,
what to talk
speaking
about.
of this, because people are saying, that, oh, well, you can't have Spider-Man and this Venom, like this Spider-Man and this Venom in the same universe because one's really young and one's super old. It's like,
No.
first off,
Yeah,
calm down. Second, Spider-Man is going to be like graduating high school in like the next movie,
Yeah.
pretty much, or maybe the movie after, but point being, he can get an internship while he's still in high school at the Daily Bugle or whatever, and he can meet Eddie Brock there because Eddie's totally going to move back to New York because he said if all else fails here, he's going to go back to New York. He mentioned that in the movie that he said he can always go back to New York.
That's true.
He wasn't run out of New York, he was just run out of the globe. They didn't kick him out of an entire city.
It'd be nice to see him go back. It'd be nice to see him go back.
And so then you can use Spider-Man to get him, and there's the feud right there. Boom!
I think we might be focusing too much on hoping to bring Spider-Man into it.
I want that to happen.
I want
so
it
much.
to. I'd be nice to have it happen too, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're gonna
They
go
would be
that
stupid
route.
not to. They really would be stupid not to do that. If they're going to, and it's only going to be a Venom trilogy, they may do it as the last one, so that way, if it tanks, they can continue it for Marvel to correct it.
End of the day, for me, I really liked Venom.
Yeah. No, I totally, as I said, I disagree completely with the critics. I gave it an A-, because it was that, like, right on that fence of being a B+ or an A- to me.
Yeah. So I think it's pretty similar to yours. I had a few issues with it. There was a couple. They were minor plot holes. They weren't that big that take you out of the movie because again, you're there for fun. You're there for Venom.
You go in and you're expecting Sony to be Sony.
Yeah. And so Sony actually wasn't Sony this time to make sure Carnage is R-rated. Are you not? What other care? Are you gonna try to bring it?
If it's not R-rated, it's already going to do badly. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, it won't be. Venom got away with it, but I don't think
No.
Well, you never. Well, we'll wait and see if the story's good enough and the acting good. But I like the violence.
Yeah, it needs it, and you know every fan is going to shit on it. They may have liked this movie, but if Carnage is in the next one and it's not an R-rated movie, every person, critics and fans alike, are going to hate it. Hopefully you enjoyed this spoiler review and discussion.
If you watch this whole thing, you fools.
Inaccurate.
Lord, how did you sit through this?
Be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when a new video goes live. Leave some comments down below. Make sure you share the video. Don't forget to follow social media. And I will link his social media down below.
Oh, please don't. Why did you do that?
Because I can. You can check out my last movie review at the end of this video for Venom to see my full take on this without any of the spoilers.
And me. Why would you want
That too. There's also a playlist that you can click on as well to see all of my other movie reviews. And I will see you next week with the movie review for the new Halloween movie. So,
Oh yeah, that's
next week. Next Friday.
That's when it comes out?
Yeah. So see you again on Friday.
Are they continuing like this is Jamie Lee Curtis. This is the original.
We're gonna discuss this off camera. Bye!
Laters.